this is Kotoko. Again, I'm going to present to you Japanese 101. I'm going to teach you the basics of Japanese called Nihongo. So first, I want to talk about the word order because it's different from English word order. Now, English, it's a SVO language. So you have the subject and then verb and then object at the end. So when you say, I read a book, I read a book. Now, Japanese, it has different word order. It's called a SOV language. So subject, object, and then verb comes at the end of a sentence. So I read a book, it will be I, watashi wa book, hon o read, yomimasu. Okay? Now let's talk about the writing system. We have three different types of writing system in Japanese. The first one is called Hiragana. Now Hiragana are 46 phonetic symbols, meaning that each character has its own sound. Okay? Hiragana letters are used for Japanese words. For example, hon, which means a book. So ho, two letters, ho, in Hiragana. Hiragana letters came from Chinese characters long time ago, as you can see on the slides. So for example, the first one, a, next one, I, the third one, u, e, and then o. As you can see, Japanese people simplified those Chinese characters and made them into Hiragana letters. Okay? Now, let's move on to Katakana. Katakana are the same 46 sounds, but different phonetic symbols. We use Katakana letters to describe long words, like foreign words. For example, pen. Pen is a pen, so we write pen in Katakana letters. Now, Katakana also came from Chinese, or made from Chinese characters, different set of Chinese characters. You can compare Hiragana and Katakana. Now, Hiragana are more like round shaped than Katakana. Okay? Lastly, Kanji. Now, Kanji are often called Chinese characters. Very different from Hiragana and Katakana in a sense that Chinese character represent a meaning, not a sound, like Hiragana and Katakana does. There are thousands of kanji, but Japanese people know probably around 2,000 to be able to read newspapers or novels. To be precise, 2,136 are considered for ordinary use. So Japanese words can be written all in kanji or a combination of a kanji and hiragana. I put some example there. The first kanji on the example, it's hana, meaning flower. The second one means bundle. Okay, these two kanji together, guess what that means? It means a bouquet. Now in Japanese, we use all three types of writing system in writing. I put an example. I go to school by bus. As you can see, the letters, the characters in green are kanji. The first one is watashi, meaning I. The second green one is gakko, school. And then the third one is I in ikimasu, a verb to go. Okay, so each character has a meaning. So I put an example sentence there. I go to school by bus. Now word order would be I, bus, by, school, to, go. As you can see, all three types of writing systems are in there. The first one is watashi in kanji, meaning I. And then you have the next green one, gakko, to school. And then ikimasu, only I part in kanji, meaning to go. Okay? And then the blue one, it's basu in katakana. It's because basu is a bus. It's a long word, therefore it's in katakana. The rest are in hiragana. Many of them are just the particles, or it's a combination of kanji and hiragana to describe a word to go. let's move on to the pronunciation. These are the 46 phonetic symbols that I talked about called Hiragana. We only have 5 vowels, the ones on the right, A, I, U, E, and O. The rest of the letters, the sounds, are a combination of a consonant and a vowel. So the second line is called K line with a pronunciation of a K, the consonant K, with the vowels. So the first one will be Ka, next one Ki, Ku, Ke, Ko. The next line is S line, the pronunciation of S, S. So Sa, Shi, Su, Se, So. The second one is not Si, it is Shi. Okay, so Sa, Shi, Su, Se, So. The next one is T line, T, T sound with a vowel. Ta, Chi, Tsu, Te, To. Now second one is not T, it is Chi. The third one is not Tu, it is Tsu. And Te, To. Ta, Chi, Tsu, Te, To. All right, next one. N, N sound. Na, Ni, Nu, Ne, No. Next one is H, H sound. Ha, Hi, Hu, He, Ho. And then M, Ma, Mi, Mu, Me, Mo. Then Y, Y line. Y sound. Ya, You, Yo. There are only 3 of them. The next line is R line, but this is a little tricky because we do not have English sound R or L. Instead, we have la, ri, ru, re, ro. So actually, Japanese R line is similar to the English sound D, 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 D sound. Now, if you say the consonant D, you see where your tongue's touching? It's touching your alveolar ridge very quickly. Now, the position of the tongue for R line is very similar. So instead of saying D, 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 where the tongue touches the same, but try to say la, 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 and then with the following vowels, la, ri, ru, re, ro. La, ri, ru, re, ro. Okay, now next one is W line. We have wa and then o. Now, the bottom one, it should be wo, right? But we do not pronounce the W here. It's the same pronunciation as the vowel o. So this character and the vowel o, same pronunciation. But don't worry, you don't have to, you won't confuse these two because this o and the W line are only used as a particle. So you don't see it in a word. And lastly, the last consonant is This is exceptional because it does not have any vowel in it. So simply Okay? All right, these are the base of the Japanese sounds. All right, so there are more sounds like voiced sounds or glides that contains yes sound between a consonant and a vowel, long vowels too, but I am going to introduce just the voiced consonants and the long vowels. So voiced counterparts, meaning, for example, the K line, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. If you put 2 tiny dots to the upper right corner, it becomes g sound. Okay, so k, ka becomes ga with the 2 dots. So the G line, ga, gi, gu, ge, go. The next line, s, sa, shi, su, se, so, S line, s sounds, becomes z when voiced. So with the tiny dots, the pronunciation is going to be za, ji, zu, ze, zo. The second one is not z, it's g. Okay. Now the next one is T line, right? T sound becomes d with the voiced, so the 2 dots together, da, ji, zu, de, do. Now be careful that G is not D, it's G. And then the third one is not do, it's Z. Okay, so da, ji, zu, de, do. Now H line is a little unique because ha, hi, hu, he, ho, the H line. With a small dot, it becomes a B line, b, b sound. So ba, bi, bu, be, bo. Instead of the two tiny dots, if you put a tiny circle, then it becomes P line, p sound. So pa, pi, pu, pe, po. Okay, now lastly, let's talk about long vowels. Now we have in Japanese short vowels and long vowels. It's very important to differentiate those two because a word that contains a short vowel has a different meaning from a word that contains a long vowel. For example, with a short vowel, oji-san means an uncle. With a long vowel, oji-san means a grandfather. Okay, so we don't have syllable in Japanese, but we do have what's called mora. Now, oji-san has 4 mora. If I clap, it will be like o-ji-san. With a long vowel, it contains 5 mora. So o, ji, i, sa, Okay, so oji-san, oji-san. There's a big difference there. And now we know the basic pronunciation of Japanese. Let's speak some. I'm introducing some self-introduction because that's what you usually do when you meet Japanese people for the first time. So nice to meet you is hajimemashite. 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 Okay, and then your name, I am your name. In Japan, at a formal setting, we usually introduce ourselves with our last name. But here in the US, with a first name is fine. So my name is Kotoko. I would say Kotoko desu. Kotoko desu. Okay? All right, and then your hometown or where you're from. I'm from Japan, Nihon or Nippon. So I will say, Nihon kara kimashita. Nihon kara kimashita. Nihon kara, from Japan, kimashita, came. Nihon kara kimashita. You're from the US, you can say, Amerika kara kimashita. Amerika kara kimashita. Okay? If it's Kansas, Kansas kara kimashita. Kansas kara kimashita. Okay? And then lastly, to finish your self-introduction, you can say pleased to meet you, which is どうぞよろしくお願いします。どうぞよろしくお願いします。Slowly, どうぞよろしくお願いします。Together, どうぞよろしくお願いします。Now this phrase is commonly used in Japan. It has different meaning in different situation. For in the self-introduction, it means pleased to meet you. Okay? All right, so from top to bottom. Now, as the picture says, Japanese people bow often. It'll be nice to bow a little bit to respect the other parties with your self-introduction. So I will show you what it's like. I will do はじめまして、ことこです。日本から来ました。どうぞよろしくお願いします。Okay? All right. Now, let's learn some useful expressions such as greetings. The first one is good morning, which is おはようございます。おはようございます。おはようございます。To your friends or your family members, you can say おはよう。おはよう。おはよう。Okay, hello during the day is こんにちは。こんにちは。こんにちは。It's not konnichiwa, it is こんにちは. Japanese has more flat, no intonation. こんにちは。こんにちは。 konnichiwa. Okay, same goes with the good evening. Konbanwa, konbanwa, konbanwa. Okay, now thank you. There's a long version and a short version. The long version, meaning polite, way to say thank you is arigatou gozaimasu. Arigatou gozaimasu. Arigatou gozaimasu. Now, with your friends or family member, you can say shorter version. Arigatou. 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 Okay. Now, lastly, I'm sorry or excuse me, you can say sumimasen. 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 Okay. All right. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned some Japanese. If you're interested in learning Nihongo, the Japanese language, please join us at the 2021 Japan Festival on October 2nd. I hope to see you there. Thank you. Arigatou.